With Rosh Hashanah looming, we all want to find something to help us be Zocheh B'Din. So please listen to the end of this and see how easy it is to get tremendous chusim to help you be Zocheh to a good year. What we're going to learn now, it's a schus for those who need shidduchim, for those who are waiting to have children, for those who want to marry off their children, for those who want to live long to see their grandchildren. That means that your children should have children. It's a schus for health, arichas yamim, wealth, happiness, and yiddush nachas from all of your offspring. Is that a good deal? Right? We'll take it. It's not so hard. This week's parsha talks about an egla rufa. Listen very carefully because this is so practical, so eye-opening. An egla rufa happens when there's unfortunately a dead person, and we don't know, it's in the middle of someplace, so we don't know whose fault it is or who it belongs to. So they measure up the distances of the cities. Let's say between Flatbush and Williamsburg, let's say between Avenue T and East 4th and Deal, there's a dead person. So you got to measure up between one location and the other. And then what happens, we all know this, V'chol ziknei ha'ir hahi akrevim el hachalel. The old people from the city, of the city that's closest to the dead person, they wash their hands on this egla rufa, on this kind of carbon. Va'anu va'amru, and they say, Yadeinu lo yishafchu es adam hazeh. We are not the murderers. We did not kill. We didn't spill blood. Ve'einenu lo yira'u, and our eyes didn't see. Didn't see what? The Mishnah in Saita says, V'chi al datenu also shezikni bezdin shayfchim damam heim. Do we think that these old zakenim, these old rabbis, that they are the ones who murdered it, that they have to come and say, we promise we didn't kill the body? What you think Ramesha Wolfson went out and he killed this body? You think the old zakenim of this city, they went out and they killed? Ella, says the Mishnah in Saita famously, Shlei bali adenu upatrenu b'li mazain, v'loi re'inuhu v'hinachnuhu b'loi levaya. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that the Zakenim are saying that we did not kill him. We did not know and have this person near us and ignore him and let him leave on his journey without a tuna fish sandwich, without food. And we didn't see him and leave him to walk out of the city without levaya, which is accompanying him. So when they say we didn't kill somebody, it means that we didn't not give him food and accompaniment, which means if you would not give him food and you would not walk him out of the city, it would be considered that we have blood on our hands, even though 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours later, he was attacked and he was killed. Lesson number 1. We see over here very clear. If someone passes through our neighborhoods and no one gives him food and no one walks him out, gives him the covet of walking, that means that nobody cares about him. What is the message to that person? I'm a nobody. If he had relatives there, right, they would walk him out. They would care about it and say, bye, have a great trip. Here's some food for the trip, if someone cared about me. So I'm walking through my neighborhood or any neighborhood and nobody gives me any food. It means nobody cares about me. Nobody cares if I live or die. And if he gets killed, then his blood is on our communal hands. We are all responsible. This is fact. This is not musar. This is what the Torah tells us by Egla Rufa, and the Mishnah explains it, that that's what it's talking about. It doesn't just mean if somebody is killed 100%. If somebody ends up being a drug addict, their lives are ruined 80% or 60%. Because we ignore them, we are responsible. We learn from Egla Rufa that we are responsible about other people in our neighborhood that we don't even know. We can't ignore what's going on around us. We can't have a park or a lake or a 7-Eleven or a gas station near us and pass it, or not pass it, but it's near you, and ignore what's going on there and say, listen, I got enough of my own problems. This is not my problem. You can't just focus on yourself. You have to care about every neshama that Hashem places in your city. Just by virtue of the fact that this neshama is in your neighborhood, we now collectively are responsible for that neshama. And if we don't show them basic human dignity, basic human care, and then they get hurt, then we have nothing to say. How many neshamas do we have wandering around our neighborhoods, the parks, the lakes, the 7-Elevens, other places? How many suicides and overdose, Rahmanu Litzlan, did we have this year and every year? Is it true that we can go into Rosh Hashanah and we could say, well, it has nothing to do with us? Is it true that we could say, Yodeinu lo yishafchu? Is it true that we could say there is nothing that we could have done? It's not true, because it's actually very much in our hands. There's a lot of things that we can do. Besides for those who are dying, Rahmanu Litzlan, Le'aleinu, of overdose, killing themselves. There's so many thousands more languishing in pain, depression, anxiety, feeling disconnected from Hashem, all kinds of problems. Feeling unimportant, feeling worthless. And it's our job, this is not a question, this is just not a Musar Sefer, this is not me saying it. We have to wake up. And we have to realize that it's our responsibility, and we have to think collectively, what could we do? And I have a solution. Before we get there, there's a question, a simple question. What does it help to give a guy some tuna fish sandwich, a little food, and to walk him out 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet? He got killed an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours later. So some Mefarshim say because somebody who eats and he gets food, so he's physically stronger. People who walk him out, he feels loved. He feels cared for. He feels like he's a boss, right? I'm a person. He's not a target. The guy walking around who's weak physically or he's weak emotionally, nobody cares about me, I'm going to walk now, whatever. They walk downtrodden. The guys who are waiting to go ahead and kill, right? They see a guy walking, okay? The other guy, same guy, could be even bigger, could be even stronger, and he's just schlepping. He's schlepping, right? So they pick him. So he becomes a target. Care creates self-esteem. Care could be nothing, just because you're my brother. You're a Jew. You're in the neighborhood. Can I get you something? A tuna fish sandwich. That's all. A little levaya, a little walking him out. Are you going? I'll walk you. I know it's hard. We can't just start going to people. They're going to be like, what do you want from me? If we start giving strange, people walking in the neighborhood. But let's think about the concept, and we're going to talk about what we can do in a very, very, very practical way, which could save our lives. There's another amazing thing that it says in the Mefarshim, and this is unbelievable. When you care about somebody, it creates angels that accompany, right? Do you remember where it is? Where you showed me, right? Is it Even Ezra or is it Kli Yakar? Right? Or the Maral. I have to find it. I have it written down. Couldn't find it right now. When you're going to go with Maral? Ding. Okay. Care creates angels. So when you just walk with somebody 10 feet, you just care, you do levaya, whatever the minimum levaya is even, and a little bit of tzeidah l'derech, you create an angel that nobody could see, that protects ki malacha v'yitzav alecha shmarcha b'chol derechecha. It creates a shmira on the person that they don't even know about, we don't even know about. Somehow it creates it, which I never knew that. I knew we create angels when we do mitzvahs. I didn't know I can create an angel and send my angel, like Yaakov, like Esav, they sent angels. I don't know, there were angels. Vayishtach Yaakov malachim, right? You could send an angel. This is, by the way, very important. We have kids going to the army in Israel. Besides for, davening, which we should for them, or kids going to dangerous places. Some of our kids are in danger. When you walk them out, when you care about them, even though you're in pain and you don't want them to go out, you create angels that protect them. Care creates angels. Very good to know. Rabbi Yaakov Naiman from the Darkei Musar, a big tzaddik in the last generation, he says a big chiddush. He says that it's not going on the nirtzach, on the one who was killed, on the victim. It's going on the murderer. Whoa, where did that come from, right? And really, it fits into the words perfectly, and I just never looked at it like that. The Ziknei Ha'ir come and they say, we didn't spill this blood. Now, we know that means that we didn't ignore the guy and not give him food. So he says it's talking about the Reitzeach. we are responsible if somebody passes our neighborhood and kills somebody else. Why would a guy kill somebody else? Because he thinks nobody cares about him. If a guy passes through the neighborhood and nobody offers him food or walks him out, then he feels downtrodden. Not only in the regular pshat does that person become a victim and get killed, but that's the kind of person that also becomes a reitzeach, and I can prove it. Who murders? Who sells drugs? Who steals cars? Who damages our community? Who ends up in the jail system? People who don't feel loved. People who don't feel loved. Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg said, show me the juvenile delinquent, and I will show you someone who is craving love, craving warmth and love. That's what he says. Now, I never knew that. Because if I see a juvenile delinquent, a guy stealing my car, a guy breaking into my car and stealing stuff or doing crime, I would think, like the Goyim say, he needs punishment, he needs petch. You got to teach him a lesson. Rav Scheinberg says healthy people who feel loved, who are loved and cared for, do not behave that way. You can't break the law even if you have a bad personality or you're a nasty person. That only takes you so far. Being loved and cared for keeps you in a healthy space that you can't be a murderer, you can't sell drugs, you can't steal cars, you can't damage, you can't end up in jail. Now we have kids who are doing this a little bit. Look at them a year or two later. We don't have any kids in jail. TP kids with parents like you, we've had many that were selling drugs and stopped even though they were making good money. They stopped selling drugs. I was at the Aguda convention, and Rabbi Yaakov Reisman came over to me. Rabbi Yaakov Reisman Shlita Zayin Gazud, and he asked me. He said, "So I need a connection at the DA's office. Do you have a connection?" I said, "Sorry, I don't." He goes, "Okay, a lawyer, a good lawyer." He said he was working on 7 different kids who are in the jail system. 7 of them, and he wanted connections. He said, "For sure, you have connections." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't know anybody." He said, "I don't understand. You have the biggest caseload. You're dealing with the craziest people, right? You take the worst cases. How could you not know people in jail?" So every once in a while we have a story, and I tell them, I don't have connections. I'm not there all the time. Maybe once a year, a kid, something, okay, call, find a lawyer. They usually get out. We don't have any kid going back into jail and back into jail. We just don't have it. And then he pushed me against the wall, and he put his fingers in my neck, and he said, "So if a kid goes like this to his father, what do you tell him?" And I said, "Please take your finger out of my throat." It was really hurting me. And then I said, "Listen, we go to Disney World, and we start doing TP, and those kids who were violent, and some of them did take knives out to their parents, right? And it almost always, let's say almost, but very, very high percentage of these kids, they're not in jail." He couldn't believe it. We have a TP kid that was on a bad spree. He was doing bad stuff. And he did one thing bad, and then he did another thing which was even worse. And he went to the courthouse, and his parents, who are obviously very, very religious people, walked with him, father on one side, mother on the other side, arm in arm, because he was really scared. And he really could have gone to jail. He did a lot of damage to public property, and he deserved jail time. And they walked with him like this, like they were his self-esteem. They were caring for him. They were carrying him. The prosecutor did a marvelous job at showing that this guy should go to jail, and he's a danger to society, and he's just gonna whatever. And the judge saw the mother and the father sitting there next to this kid, and with him, not angry at him, even though they had a reason to be angry, not frustrated at him, even though there was reason to be frustrated. They were not very proud of him at this moment. This is not the kid that they raised to be, but they were with him. And the judge said, and it was a very tough judge, he said, "This kid does not need punishment. This kid needs help. Release him to these parents. He has parents like this. Release the kid to the parents. They'll make sure that he gets the help that he needs." It's not a mistake. So whether it's the murderer or the victim, the fact is that we can help both of them to get downgraded, to not be what what they would end up being by our care. The Friday night before Rosh Hashanah, a bunch of years ago, I took my 2 kids to the park, the one near my house. I did it because I said Rosh Hashanah is coming and we need schusim. We have to go out and we need schusim. What can we do for schusim? Let's go out and be nice to people who are in pain. People go to the elderly, right? People go to the hospitals. Let's go out to the kips in the neighborhood, to the kids in pain, to those who are downtrodden. They really are. And who feel like they're not part of society and don't see a future, are not into this excitement that we have of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness or the pursuit of anything. They don't see tomorrow, and many of them wouldn't care, even if they're not suicidal. But if someone said, you're not going to wake up tomorrow, they'd be okay with it. They don't see a future. Who's going to marry me? What's going to be with me? I'm never going to be the pride of the family. They gave up hope. So what bigger mitzvah can there be? So I took my 2 kids and I brought them dafka with me for chinuch purposes. A lot of people, they say, I don't want my kid to see, I don't want my kid to know. I brought them for chinuch purposes. I want you to see what's out there. I want you to know what's out there. And I want you to know the right way that it's our responsibility to care. And we should really go out there every night. We should go out there every Friday night when they're out there. But now we need schusim before Rosh Hashanah. I sat down, and you've heard me say this many times, so you know that the story is true, like all my stories are true. And I sat down on the park bench, and I sat down next to a kid with wild blonde hair who smelled from a mixture of alcohol, vodka, and I don't know, weed, and just, I don't know. And my 2 sons were standing here, and I was just schmoozing with the guy. And then all of a sudden, another guy came over, and another guy came over, and another guy came behind me. I remember it was a real cute kid, a tall kid, and they said, oh, he just got out of jail. I said, jail? Why were you in jail? His parents threw him out of the house, got an order of protection again. Order of protection. This is a cute kid. This is a typical puppy. I call them puppies. This is not a monster. Like, I was going to just take them all and open another home sweet home, and bring them all in. Like, what are they doing on the street? And they got an order of protection against him. He broke into his house because he needed some money to steal or whatever. They caught him and they called the police and they threw him in jail. Like, this is so off. Like, who was giving them this advice? Why? We've rehabilitated 1,000 kids like that. We don't need those tools. Anyway, it wasn't that long, and all of a sudden this kid turns to me and he says, I don't understand. Why are you being nice to us? Everybody hates us. This is exactly what he said. This is the impression that they have. Because we look at them weird, angry, we turn our kids' heads, kicknish, don't look, whatever. And their impression is like criminals, right? We hate them. We don't feel bad for them. We don't care about them. Why are you being nice to us? Everybody hates us. And I don't know why I did what I did, but I took off my glasses and I turned to him and I said, look into my eyes. What do you see? Like you would say a chacham can check what's in your eyes. He looks in my eyes. He says, you don't hate us. You're a nice guy. He was able to see my soul. I don't know why I did that. I never did that with anybody else. But this kid right away knew that I care. And I don't know who he is. And I apologize to him that I didn't go back. Because it's so easy. Like, what's the big deal? But they knew, and the other kids knew that here's somebody who doesn't hate us because he's sitting with us. Here's someone who doesn't wish we would just disappear. We're not his problem. So I want to ask anyone who has a pure heart, anyone who cares. We have a few Friday nights till Rosh Hashanah. Please go out to the parks, to the lakes on Friday night, and just show these lost souls that you care about them. You don't need any fancy kiruv tricks. Like we said before, we don't have to ask them to put on tefillin or to learn with us or anything like that. Just show them that I'm not scared of you and I don't hate you and I'm not against you, whether it's for 5 minutes or if you could stay a half hour or an hour. Show them that you care whether they're alive or dead. Show them that they have some kind of a value because they don't believe in themselves. For an added bonus, if you can bring them some nash, if you have an Erev, right? If you could bring them some cholent, some kigel, for sure. Rabbi Aaron Shechter Zatzal, his yahrzeit is Zayin El, just recently. He went outside Friday night. He was walking and he saw 4 boys smoking on Shabbos. The Gadol Adar. Everybody says you have to hate, right? Did he scream at them? Did he yell at them? You're killing yourselves. What are you doing? You should burn in hell. All of this stuff? No. Get out of town. Get out of our neighborhood. All this stuff that little people say. No. You know what he said? Boys, ich hab eich lieb. I love you. If you ever need anything, my door is open for you. Boys, I love you. If you ever need anything, my door is open. On Sunday, one of those boys came knocking on his door and said, Rebbe, I need help. And he was saved. The other 3, I don't know the end of the story, but that one I know. If we can go out there as a schus for his neshama, Reb Aaron Shechter was a gadol in Klal Yisrael. As a schus for Reb Aaron, and for all the tzaddikim that taught us what to do. All of them. We could be makabel to follow in their ways, and we can go out Friday night and we could say, boys, ich hab eich lieb. Now, we can't, as regular people, we can't say we love you. We can't say stuff like that, and we can't start hugging them because it's creepy and it's unfair. They don't like that. But we could just show them. We could show them and mean it. They're neshamas. They're not what they look like to some people. They're not dangerous. And we can help them. Women, go out there and hug these girls. These girls are so vulnerable. They're getting hurt so bad. Invite them to go out with you. If you see a nice girl, if you connect, say, you know what? Give me your number. Or take down my number. Or, I don't know, come to my house and I'll give you my number after Shabbos, right? And say, how about Tuesday night we go out to eat? If you don't want to bring a stranger into your house, fine. Take them out to eat Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Maybe bake challah with them. Maybe invite them into bake challah. You know what the difference is that we can make on our streets, which will help our other kids who are struggling or pre-struggling not to walk out and see a bunch of angry people? You know what a difference we can make with all of these souls? There's nobody who doesn't have this tool to save souls. It doesn't require anything. And we should be zeicha to see the brachas of the Zohar HaKadosh that is set aside specifically for those who run after the jewels that fall away from the crown. You want to know what these brachas are? Just for walking out and just saying, how you doing? What's your name? Got you some kugel. I got you some lachmajin. I got you some nash. Or just schmoozing with them if you don't have food. And just sitting and showing that you care. You're showing that you're going to try to help them. Before I tell you the bracha that you're going to get, remember we have Yom Kippur coming up. Remember the story that I heard from Rebbe Ram Shur Shlita on the yard side of the Beis Yisrael, the Ger Rebbe, Zatzal Zchus Yagen Aleinu. In Poland, before he was Rebbe, the Beis Yisrael, Rebbe Yisrael Alta was the Rebbe's son, the Imre Amos' son. He was a very, very, very holy person. He was very, very sharp, very holy and very sharp. And he went out Yom Kippur afternoon, and he saw a Jew Mechalel Yom Kippur. What would you do? He didn't scream at him. He didn't curse him. He didn't guilt him. He didn't schlep him into shul. He started schmoozing with him because he was hoping that if he can create a relationship that maybe one day he could influence, be mashpia on this soul. So he started schmoozing with him, and he schmoozed until after Yom Kippur, and he missed Mincha, Ne'ilah, Marav on Yom Kippur. You can't even make up. Maybe you could have Marav B'Yechidus afterwards. How do you make up Mincha? I don't know. Ne'ilah, you can't make up. He sacrificed the last few hours of the holiest day, of the holiest point of the year, when we're the holiest, we're like angels, Hashemu Elikim 7 times, and he just schmoozed with the guy. He could have told him, listen, I'm a little busy today. Can we schmooze tomorrow? The Ger Rebbe, the Beis Yisrael. He could have said, how about tonight, after Havdalah? Now it's Yom Kippur, you look like a great person. He wasn't downgrading his Yom Kippur. He understood, and you'll see the brachas that we get, he understood that in Hashem's eyes, this was an upgrade to his Yom Kippur. What would you rather do? Ne'ilah in shul, right? Or go schmooze to try to form a relationship and maybe help out one of Hashem's children. Think about it. Imagine that this is your boss, okay? And you're at a convention and your boss's kid is outside and he's lost, but you can go ahead and spend an hour with the boss. You give up that hour with the boss to go and save the boss's kid. Which one do you think he's going to pay you more for? These are Hashem's children. Hashem says you gave up Ni'ilas, like for us, for ourselves. We daven for Klal Yisrael, but it's us, right? We gave up for us to try to save my kid, to try. The Zohar HaKadosh says this schar comes from trying, not succeeding. Before he was nifter, the Beis Yisrael was old and very frail, very sick and in a lot of pain. And he reflected and he said, this is one avera, quote unquote sin, that I don't regret doing. This is one sin that I never regretted doing. That I gave up my mincha, nila, marav, and Yom Kippur to schmooze with somebody. I could have schmoozed with him the next day. That night, the next day, I never regretted it. And then he added, even though I didn't accomplish anything. I still don't regret it. Sure, if I tell you I gave up my Yom Kippur, and when I'm 125,000 years old, I say, look, the guy came back, beautiful ending, and there's children and grandchildren, and there's 1,000, right, 1,000 from people. That's why I don't regret it. He didn't get the account. He didn't accomplish anything. I still don't regret it. I will sacrifice myself. We have to sacrifice ourselves. We have to learn from the tzaddikim. Now, if you do this, look at the Zohar HaKadosh Parshas Truma. Look what you're going to get now. Just for trying, shtadel, to try. Number one, schus, to get married. If anybody's looking for a shidduch, this is a schus to get married. We have people who are waiting to have children, who are struggling to have children. It's a schus to have children. Go out Friday night and be nice to people. That's the whole thing. It's a schus from the Zohar HaKadosh to have children. It's a schus to live long enough to see those children that Hashem gave you get married. How many people want shidduchim for their children? Go out and be nice to these kids. It's a schus to live long enough to see grandchildren. Not everybody merits to see their grandchildren. It's a schus for arichas yamim. It's a schus for parnasa b'shefa. It's a schus to be zoicha that after you pass away, he says you will reach the highest level in Olam Haba that is reserved for the people who care about Hashem's lost children. And that we can never get there, no matter how holy we are. He says when you're going to get to the next world, you're going to press the penthouse, and they're going to say, the angels are going to come, and they're going to say, no, this is a regular guy. This is like, you can't go up there. And then they're going to come, and they're going to say, let him go. He tried, he cared, and he tried to return Hashem's children back to him. And this is our job. Whether you do it for them, or you do it for yourself, or you do it for your children, or your grandchildren. This is what we need to do. It's not that hard. We have a few Friday nights left. Let's try our best. Let's show Hashem we care about your children. Let's show our friends we care about your kids that are struggling. Let's care. The schus is definitely worthwhile. In that schus we should have ksiva v'chsima tova, a good geben shiur, Yimale Hashem kol mishalisenu.